I think in today's day and age, we live in a world that is harder than ever uh, to have morals and to be alive, period. And I think by what I mean by the hardest, I mean the most confusing. For example, when I was a kid, the worst thing that ever happened was 9/11, right? Which is, I mean, it's awful, but it was the most heartbreaking thing I remember ever feeling in the news. And that was it, right? I mean, it took weeks to get over, but you had these months to get over a tragedy. And there's nothing else that was so crazy. It was, there was just war, but that was about it. And now, every day I open my phone, a cop's been shot, um, a kid's been stolen, um, a school has just been shot up every single day, and so we have no time to get over anything. And then there's something every day that I'm supposed to know about, that I'm supposed to have an opinion about. And when I go into work, my friends are like, "What do you think about Libya? What do you think about Syria? What's going on in North Korea? Who's our country fighting today?" And it's so confusing. To try to keep up, to have an opinion, to keep your heart up here, because every day something awful's happening. I mean, we live in this world where we have to know. We have to be in the know, but we also have to be opinionated. And in being opinionated, I think where it comes confusing is being able to have morals, or these standard morals that Christians have had throughout time. But this moral line is changing constantly. And because it's changing, we're expected to change with it, right? And if you're not, you're a bigot. It's that simple. Um, but throughout time, Christians have had this standard belief of morals, right? And then certain ones are understandably wrong. And that being said, at what point do we draw a line, and that is our line? I think every year there's a moral line in the sand, and that line is wiped away, it's washed away, and then there's a new line drawn closer to chaos, right? And so how do you uphold those morals? How do you stand up for what you believe in without appearing to hate others, to judge others for what they believe? You don't want to do that. You want to stand up for what you believe, and not have to conform, to assimilate to that new moral code. And I think that's the problem with our country, is that we've been forced to feel shame for things that we just don't believe in. That being said, there are people, not to throw anyone under the bus, but like the Westboro Baptist Church, that stands up and they condemn others, instead of just not condoning it. They condemn others and say, "You're going to hell," and that's not great either, And so that's why there's that fine line. You want to walk that fine line, but how do you do it? Because you don't want to judge, but you also don't want to just conform. Anyway, so I learned about this week is this court case that made gay marriage, same-sex marriage, legal in our country. And what it basically boiled down to is these judges saying that it broke the 14th Amendment, that it broke the Equal Rights Clause, and basically I think what they said is, what harm could it do? Is why not? Why take away this idea? And I think what it's done is it's pushed us further towards ambiguity. I mean, what I mean by that is we're pushing more and more liberality. So we're saying, why not? And the problem with that, I think, is when we say why not over and over again, we eventually have no line of moral upstanding. We just have no code of ethics. And so, for example, I think, so basically what the judges said is that instead marriage is not between a man and a woman, it's between two people. And we should not discriminate against people with same sex because it is between two people, so there can be no discrimination. States have no right to nullify marriages between same-sex couples, right? And so we do uphold those laws. But here's my thing. So, with that disappearing of the line, there's a rise in throuple relationships, right? This is in relationships that have more than two people. And so they're making their case, right? They're starting to fight for equal marriage rights as well. And so I don't think it's crazy to think that. I don't think it's crazy to think that eventually that will be legal as well. The thruples will have this right to marry. That it's not polygamy. It's just it's a throuple relationship. So then eventually Supreme Court justices will say marriage is between people. And then, so what is marriage is sacred, and not in this sense of it's between God and man. It's sacred because it's an institution, and so whenever we just basically take away these guidelines of marriage, it's no longer sacred. There's no point of it. And marriage is more than just a unity of people. It's literally creating a new unit of society, because when two people get married, they create a family. And a family, as we all know, is the basic unit of society, of a civilization. And so when two people marry, they create a new family, which creates a bigger part of society. And it's up to that family whether they're contributing positively or negatively to society and to God, and His plan. And I think that boils down to us. Are we, when we get married, contributing positively or negatively to our Heavenly Father's plan, and to the plan of our country? Anyway, I've just been really fighting with myself. How do I stand up for what I think is right, and how do I do that without seeming like I hate others? Because I don't hate others. One of my best friends is engaged to a member of the same sex, and I love him dearly with all my heart, and I don't want to condemn. I want him to be happy, right? And it's rough, and this is where our country is it's hard to see that, and you can't condemn it, and you can't. And I feel like there's a difference between accepting and respecting, right? So I can respect the decisions, but it doesn't mean I have to accept them, right? And anyway, this is my moral code crisis. It's just we want to stand up for what our church teaches us, and we want to love our brother as well for what he chooses. And I also don't want to see that moral line in the sand disappear completely. I don't want to see this country go into chaos completely, and I don't think that that's insane to think. I think that it's very possible. Anyway, if anyone has any help for me to stand strong in what I believe, but also not love my brother any less, or appear to love my brother any less, please help me. I'd love to know.